You guys, I cannot make this up. This happened just the other day without me even trying. And I'm gonna get all into it here. I just wanted to let you know that I am trying some new sound stuff. So if you can, please let me know down in the comment section how it is. Hopefully you can't hear every single time I swallow or open my mouth. That's like so annoying to someone like me, so let me know. But anyway, this happened just the other day. And I woke up from it and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to verify this, so I did, okay? This was a multidimensional ascension for a spirit in my dreams. Not a spirit inside my dreams, I'm sorry. In my dream state, I helped with an ascension. I facilitated an ascension for a spirit in another frickin' place. I didn't even think that, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but I never would have thought to wonder if that was the thing. And so when I asked my guides in the morning with my muscle testing, that's one form of verification you can use. You can also use a pendulum. They said, yes, not only was it real, but I'm literally reading what I wrote down. It was a parallel universe 1 or 2 timelines over. Like, what? That's so specific. So it wasn't super far away from us, like where we are here in this timeline. The fact that that specificity came through was just really, really cool. And so I'm thinking, oh my goodness. As you probably might already expect or suspect, this is a blob that I wrote down when I woke up, like, you know, like, as you're like half asleep still. Even better if you're somebody with a physical dream journal, and it's so tragic when you wake up in the morning and it's just scribbles on the page that you have to decipher. Thankfully, this is typing, but it is a blob. So I'm just gonna read it to you as it is, and if we need to interpret, then we'll figure it out together. But this is pretty wild. So here's how it starts off. We were there in some place hunters and campers go, hanging around a chair and table made of wooden straw fibers, that strong, stiff fabric / textile that can be laid over cushions. You know what I'm talking about? It's like those, it's not burlap, but it's those old, like, chairs especially, that's made out of this, like, woven, like, flat, it looks like straw. Like, it literally looks like straw. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. And then for the table, I will clarify here, I saw something that was a combination of wood, epoxy, and then the straw. So if anything, the straw was inlaid into a frame and then it was covered all in epoxy, which is interesting. They looked to be about 20 years old at least. 2 to 3 people had noticed a spirit presence, and all these details started coming through, and I became lucid. Let me know if you have also experienced this, where you might not start off in a dream as being lucid, but then you become lucid. It's almost like you wake up inside the dream. It's so weird. So that's what happened to me in this situation. The ball of energy started to cling to me a bit, and I hadn't seen anything yet at this point, but I just felt it in my psychic senses. That's when I was like, okay, and information started flooding in slowly at first, but then faster with more. And this is very interesting. Guys, I can't make this up. Seriously, spirits can look so weird sometimes. There was one time I saw a glowing green neon skeleton. I don't ask, okay? It's just how it comes through. And there was another time where I actually bring it up in one of my other videos, where it was a cryptid, I think it had to have been, because it was a mix between a white shaggy dog and a bat. Again, I can't make it up. I really can't. So here is what the spirit looked like. I just wanted to say that as kind of context and a preface. The spirit looked Five Nights at Freddy's-esque, but a real life version without the robo parts. A messy fox blended with a human, but there was another guy there who presented himself as a friend of my dad's, said he saw a bear, then maybe a farm animal, clearly trying to tune into the energy, but it was strongly a fox for me, and respectfully I said so, but also said how what he saw was very possible as well at the same time. My chest was tight, and I was kind of scared at the sight. As we all described what we were seeing, it became a full-on impromptu session. The group of people who were there with me was my dad or some other guy from the looks of it, a past life of his, but it was my dad's energy. I can't quite remember how exactly it came through, but I just recognized him as my dad in the experience. The man that was his friend and a girl I spent another part of the dream acquainted with. The spirit was a man named Johnson who was hiking/exploring, then got lost in the woods. I saw with my physical eyes lines of words he was saying of how scared and confused he was. So it was almost as if these words were popping up like closed captions. That was very interesting. That's never happened to me before. And so I continue with one of the first questions asked by this hunter friend of my dad's is if he hurt anyone because of how scary he looked and how creepy the energy was. He said he never hurt anyone or anything, and I received more detail before the group of people I was with deliberated amongst themselves briefly that it was except to survive in the woods. I sensed a squirrel or two maybe. He was there for days and days. I physically saw lines of text appear of what he was saying off to the side and how scared and confused he was. I already said that. At this point, I physically felt my head get pretty dizzy, so I announced that to the group, but said I'd continue anyway because I could feel that the session was almost done. A group of campers came through and scoped out the area. He was in a hole he dug for shelter by the base of a tree. A woman pulled something up to reveal him. In the dream, I sensed it was a head, but maybe it was a door, or maybe it was his head, but he was alive or feeling drowsy from malnourishment. He was so happy that he could talk to someone, and he was so happy that he could talk to somebody and that he'd been found that he choked on his food and passed. That's so specific. But if somebody is the way that I was seeing it was he was like so weak in this makeshift shelter that he had built himself literally out of like at the base of a tree. And he must have had like something in his mouth, and he just was like trying to maybe feed himself and just passed out. And so where did I leave off? I told the group that was the campground this girl who was here in this group and I went to earlier in the dream. And holy crap, I just realized awake that I was briefly taken to the spot in a vision, and the tree had yellow, tall, grass-like plants that looked like straw, which may have been the same straw the chairs were made of. So it would totally make sense that now his spirit was here in this weird, like, dive bar hunter's lounge where the chairs are. That's crazy. That's so specific. I also recall just a bit of a strange energy at the campsite though too, but just residue, further supporting the spirit being moved. As I was receiving all this, not speaking out loud yet, I could tell the group was maybe starting to lose interest, but I asked Johnson if he was ready to ascend, and he was. I was preparing that final sequence as I woke up, slowly phasing into the waking world. I took a breath to settle a bit, and then said that if this was real, to surround... So literally, I did the bulk of the session asleep, and then I woke up, and then I said the final phase of the actual ascension when I was awake. So literally, I said that if this was real, to surround Johnson in a golden bubble of light, called in his guardian angels to take him where he needs to go and answer his questions. He was safe, free, and going to a good place irrevocably. He rose up, then I saw my guide on the other side bring him over the threshold, because I have a team. We all have a team. It didn't take too long, and I cleared all residue from the path up my space and my being. And then I literally wrote under this just a couple of additional notes here. First ascension in my dreams, in all caps. Whoa, a different dimension, a different timeline, a different place. Are there really no bounds to helping people? That's so cool. And so my final note here is, I woke up with the pressure in my chest still, and that paired with the headache in the dream, I would normally say that's a red flag for a not great entity. And the farm animal thing was kind of like, but I cleared the sensation when I woke up after breathing through the ascension and felt better. In the moment, I genuinely would have just left it if those details beyond... In the moment, I genuinely would have just left it if those details beyond how the spirit looked didn't come through, because I wasn't lucid, then became lucid. Yeah. So, what does this mean? This means that because, here, maybe you've heard other creators and other spiritual people online talk about grid work, how when you are sleeping, your soul, because this is one thing I should explain too. Apparently, we exist in every dimension. There's a version of us in every dimension, that entire spectrum between... There might even, I don't know, somebody explain it to me. I don't know if there's a 2D or a 1D. There probably is. But what I mostly feel is the 3D up into the 15D, right? So it's like, apparently every single D... we're the 3D version, and then there's a 4D, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like all the way up. And those higher versions of ourselves in our dreams will do work in our sleep because our physical vessel is in, our brain waves are in a certain place, but also the physical body is resting to the point where our energies can focus on spiritual work, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, there have been creators that I follow and I really like to listen to their stuff. They do grid work and they do stuff astrally in their dreams for the planet and sometimes even for surrounding celestial bodies and things. You can kind of go anywhere. So I think that maybe this was a version of me, my soul being in service where it was called to go, which is super freaking cool. So, yes. Thank you so much for watching. That's the video. If you have any cool dream experiences, I would love to read about them down in the comment section. And I also have a ton of goodies down in the description, including my Etsy store where I add a bunch of powerful, potent things all the time. So be sure to check in regularly for new uploads, and I will see you in the next one.